What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Living Freed channel. My name is Tyler Freed, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I am navigating through this tough economy we're living in. We have high inflation, we have high gas prices, high diesel prices, we have interest rates elevated at a very high level right now, and it's very tough out there for a lot of people. I am not going to get into who's to blame for the problems we are dealing with in this economy. Why? Because this is going to be how to take control of your own situation, not to complain about who created the problem. Now, there's plenty of blame to go around, and I'm sure you guys that are watching this video are smart enough to figure out who is to blame for the problems we have in this economy. Absolutely. But I'm not going to get into that in this video because I like to believe that we all have control of our lives. We need to take control of our lives and try to navigate through any economy, whether it's good times, bad times, a good political party in office, a bad political party in office, doesn't matter. We need to learn to take control of our own situation and try to navigate through whatever situation we're dealt with. Why? Why am I saying that? Well, because what does blaming people do for your situation? Getting mad at what they're doing does nothing, because you can't control what the politicians do. You can't control what the Federal Reserve, the central banks do around the world with interest rates. You can't control those things. What can you control? You can control yourself. And that's what I like to talk about on this channel. And don't think for 1 minute. I make a lot of videos about how you can build wealth, how you can be successful using trucking to be successful. I talk a lot about that, and I don't really focus on blaming anybody on how the economy is. Why? Because, again, you don't control those factors. You don't control who gets into office. You don't. I mean, yeah, you do have one vote, but, you know, I have my opinions on that one vote that we supposedly get. So, anyway, I'm going to get into how I'm navigating through this tough economy right now. And if you're new to the channel, I appreciate you for clicking on the video. Make sure you like the video, sub to the channel if you're new, stay tuned till the end because you need to hear my entire point. 100% you do. And if you're somebody that's already subscribed, please like the video. It helps grow the channel. It helps with the YouTube algorithm to push my content out there. And so what have I done? Well, I did this about 5 years ago. I got into a career where I knew I could make a lot of money. If you're somebody that does not have a good career, say you're making $30,000 a year, you have a bunch of student loan debt, you have a mortgage, you have a car payment, and you're just drowning with bills. Well, if you're only making $30K a year, you need to figure out, and your expenses are $28,000 a year, you only got $2,000 a year in wiggle room. Chances are you're probably going deeper and deeper into debt each and every single week, each and every single month. You have an income problem, because a lot of you that watch my channel are probably like, well, look, I don't make enough money to pay off my debt, because I talk a lot about, hey, you need to get out of debt before you save up an emergency fund, before you start to invest your money or start a business. You need to get out of debt. Well, it's hard to get out of debt when you are deeply in debt and you have a low income. So the first thing you got to do, and the first thing that I did, was I got into a career where I knew there was unlimited income potential. And in trucking, there is. You can make as much money as you want to make in trucking. It all depends on the choices you make, how you navigate through the trucking business. And if I were to do it over again, this is what I would recommend to anybody looking at trucking as a career. You need to get all of your endorsements, your hazmat, doubles and triples, tanker endorsement, everything. Get it all, your TWIC card, everything. Be able to haul any type of freight. Now, that being said, look, I'm in the dry van division, and there's still ways to make unlimited income in the dry van division. There is 100%, because I work for Crete Carrier, and at this company, as a company driver, the way to maximize your income as a company driver here would be to become a trainer. Now, to become a trainer here, you have to have a certain level of experience as a driver, and also you have to be with the company for over a year. You have to have 3 years of experience as a driver, 1 year with Crete. So if you're not qualified to do that starting out, that's totally fine. Say you have 2 years of experience. Well, you can also maximize your income by, hey, Why don't you do over the road? Do all 48 over the road versus regional. You'll make a much higher rate per mile. Be willing to run days and nights. Be willing to run holidays. Manage your time correctly, and you will max out your income here at Crete. And you will max out your income at any trucking company. But again, like I said, I would get into trucking with the ability to haul any type of freight, and I'm actually going to eventually go back and get the endorsements added onto my license, because it's not very hard to do it, and I need to do it. So anyway, that's what I would do. If you're looking at getting out of your tough situation, the first thing you got to do is get into a career where you can make unlimited income. Okay, there is no cap on what you can make. There's not. Now, there is a cap as a company driver in trucking as to what you can make. Of course, that's with any job, by the way. You will have to go the self-employed route if you want to make more than the company driver. You will have to go the self-employed route. So in trucking, that would be buying your own truck, becoming an owner-operator. And you keep saying, well, there's a cap with that too. No, there's not, because if you grow a fleet in trucking, there is no cap to what you can make with a fleet. You can keep growing that fleet over and over and over again and expanding, and your income will go up with each truck that you add to your fleet. It will. And so there is no income potential in trucking. It just depends on how much work you want to do and what you want to do. But here's the flip side. A lot of people are saying, well, I don't want to be an owner-operator. Well, if you don't want to be an owner-operator, you need to think about investing your money, taking your money, saving your money, and investing in other assets, such as real estate or stocks. You could do that, or you could start a small business on the side. Okay, whatever. You need to learn to take your money out of that career that you're making a good living with and invest it. Invest it. Now, before you start investing, my opinion, you need to get out of debt. Why? Because if you're out of debt, you free up cash flow to be able to save, invest. You free up all of your income to be able to save, invest. Your most powerful wealth building tool is your income. 100% it is. If you're making $100,000 a year in trucking and you're able to live on $20,000 a year, because if you're out of debt and you have an emergency fund, you have very low bills, believe me, you can save 50, 60, 70,000 a year being a truck driver. You can, 100%. That is not a crazy number at all. I mean, look, and I don't live in my truck. I have a house. I live, a normal life when I'm home, right? I have a normal living situation. And my wife and I were able to save 50 or 60% of our income. And it's not just because of how much we make in trucking. It's because our expenses are so low, we have zero debt. That's why we're able to do that. And that's why I always preach getting out of debt. I know people get tired of me talking about this in my videos, but look, that's my core message, is to convince people, hey, yeah, I need to do this stuff, because no matter what economy we are in, as long as you have low expenses, zero debt, and a high income, you're always in the position to take advantage of buying investments. You are. Or if you're in trucking, think about it. What owner-operator would you rather be? The owner-operator that has a $4,000 a month truck payment, or the owner-operator that has zero payments at all? Which owner-operator would you rather be? I know which one I would rather be. And I know which companies are thriving still, even in a terrible economy with high fuel prices and slowdown in freight and all the different problems we have in this economy. Inflation, interest rates being high. Look, interest rates don't affect you if you use cash for everything. Interest rates don't affect you. Interest rates don't affect me. As a matter of fact, interest rates help me. Why? Because generally when interest rates go up, asset prices fall, usually, and that gives me a chance to buy assets at a much lower price, because interest rates aren't going to stay this high forever. They will go back down eventually. Nobody knows when. And I'm going to take advantage of buying stocks when stocks are down, and I can buy more shares of the greatest companies in the world when stocks are down. I cannot buy more shares when stocks are at an all-time high. And so I love the fact that the Fed is raising interest rates, actually, especially for the time period I'm in my life. I'm only 28 years old, and I plan to be investing for the next 30 to 40 years. I do. And so man, I'm loving it right now. I love interest rates being elevated this high. But if you're somebody that's always borrowing money, always going in debt, you're trying to buy a house, get a mortgage, you're trying to buy a car, get a car loan, you're going into student loan debt, of course, interest rates going up are going to dramatically affect you and going to make your life much harder, 100%, which is why I preach, get and stay out of debt. If you're already in debt, don't go into debt. Okay, and then focus on building in your career, whatever career you choose. It could be trucking, it could be anything else. If you're watching this channel, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Get into a career where you have unlimited income potential, and then you want to start being smart with your money. That is how I'm navigating through everything, right? I mean, yeah, I do pay more at the grocery store because we do have inflation. Inflation has shot up. However, I can afford it because I still live on, I have very low expenses. I still make a very good income in trucking. I'm about to start training, which is going to improve my income here at Crete. And that's what you got to do. You got to learn to deal with the cards you're dealt with. You have to learn to do that in life. That's why I don't like to blame anybody on my videos, even though I could point fingers at plenty of people and organizations that have created the mess that we're in our economy. And I do know that we are in a mess, 100%. Don't think I don't know that just because I don't talk about it. But the point of my videos is to tell people, hey, even though we're dealing with tough times right now, you can still be successful. You can still navigate through these tough times if you go about it a certain way. Because just remember, if you can avoid the traps that the government and the banks who ultimately control the world. Why do I say the banks control the world? Whoever controls the money controls the world, ultimately. And the banks control the money. They do. And they even control the government. Why? Because where do you think the government gets their money to spend from? The banks. We are all indebted to the banks. We are. And so that is not some wild conspiracy. It's just, hey, if you want to know who controls things, follow the money. And what is the point I'm trying to make with that? The point I'm trying to make with that is, look, the goal of the bankers, the goal of the banks, the goal of the government, because they work together, is to get the population, to get the world in debt. They want to get individuals in debt, corporations in debt, and the government in debt. They do. Why? Because if they can get everybody in debt, they can control everybody. And that's how it works. And so how do you navigate? How am I navigating around that? By avoiding their traps. That's all you can do, is avoid their traps and learn to do what rich people do. What do rich people do? They own assets. They don't own liabilities. They buy assets. And they own assets that pay for their liabilities. That's what they do. And so that is why I talk about everything I talk about on my channel. For those of you that have watched me for a long time, you know that's why I do that. But the reason I preach it all the time is so that somebody can listen to what I'm saying and actually do what I'm saying. You don't have to do it exactly the way I do it. No, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just raising your curiosity about, hey, you know what? I can do something about my financial situation. I am drowning in debt, but I can get out. That's why I talk about what I talk about on my channel, like I said. So anyway, how am I navigating through all of this? I am finding ways every day to increase my income in my career and outside of my career. Side gigs, side hustles. You can do that as well. Even if you're in trucking, you can have side gigs and side hustles. I'm trying to increase my income all the time, keep my expenses low, stay out of debt, and invest in as much of my income as possible into assets. Me, I buy broadly diversified index funds. I own 75% of the total US stock market and 25% of the total international stock market. That is what I choose to invest in, low-cost index funds. If you're interested in learning about investing, I've been asked, how have you learned about investing and finance and all that? Read the book, The Simple Path to Wealth. and that is the best way to start. There's other books too that I could recommend, and if you want me to make a video about books I recommend, like finance books, business books that I've read, I can do that. Just ask me in the comment section. If I get enough of you asking, I will give you a top 5 or a top 10 list of books that I've read that have really changed my life and educated me on all this stuff. But the first one I recommend any of you read that are watching this, that are beginners and you don't really know a lot about investing, I would recommend The Simple Path to Wealth first. So anyway, God bless you. Thank you guys for watching, and peace out.